can make raised beds. Just get pots. Every year it gets easier. They just keep growing. Potatoes require no effort at all. Every potato becomes like 5 potatoes and 10. It might take years, but that's how it works. And it's unlimited food. Because you're going to have access to food that makes you feel full, but it will not have the nutrition that you need. No trace minerals, none of it. And that's why Bill Gates bought 500,000 acres. Allegedly. This is my opinion, not fact. But I think it's an attempt to starve everybody.
32.
Because they think there's too many people. And they're right and wrong. There's no population problem. The earth can handle
32, 17,
way
20.
more people. Like not even close. It's like unlimited. But the way people live, there is overpopulation. Because they're not making anything or growing anything. So there is useless eaters. I know that sounds really hard to say because everybody was born in God's image, babies, because every useless eater can become a non-useless eater. But if you're looking from the point of view of the control structure, the managerial structure of our current system.
Was the first spin.
Overpopulation. Say, yeah, but it's... okay, if you're looking at an average person's life,
20 came up on the first spin.
He eats stuff that he didn't grow. He wears clothes he didn't make. He drives a car that requires war and fuel and all this stuff. He goes to a job that is quote unquote non-essential because it literally is. It's like a work program, you know. But what was he managing? Someone's taxes, or I don't know, something that can be replaced by a bot. Like they already have the technology, they just don't use it because they don't want unemployment to go up. Then he masturbates. He looks at the pornos. You know, he makes sure that he sees any new video of the newest runaway with a drug addiction, humiliating herself. Then he needs some liquor. He buys his liquor. He needs to unwind with some liquor, some beer. He watches Hollywood propaganda. He gets really angry. Then he starts watching the news, gets more angry, divided, feels very entitled, goes on to social media, condemns half the country, you know, watches some more pornography, you know, uses the system to get rid of his waste, you know, his just disgusting bowels, and buys more stuff, goes to, you know, buys new curtains, new bed every year. You know, it just watches the NFL, complains about it on Twitter, feels like he's a victim because there's not enough white people in commercials. You know, it's like, if you're watching that, you're like, what are you doing here? Takes it on in friends and family, right? Very entitled, mean,
spin.
You know.
First spin came up with number 20.
And then you have all the women that go buy a bag because it says Gucci on it for $2,000. They just drink alcohol
20,
and backbite with their friends. They don't, you know, they don't make anything, do anything. They're really deceitful to their husband. It's just like, if you're in the beast, you're like, you guys all got to go. You know, if these people are looking at the government, like, why won't you entertain me more? Like, open up the trampoline stores. Like, give me more drugs, or else I'm going to flip a wig and be destructive. Like, if you're a manager, like, you'd be like,
14 red.
Right? And so you have the combination. It's not just like outright eugenics, but reminds me from a couple years ago. Yeah.
Final spin.
It's like you start looking at how to feed all these people. They can't grow one plant.
32, 20,
they can't
17.
Help one person. You know, they can't say something nice about anybody. They can't go out of their way to have a family get together. They can't ask their neighbor one time if they need help with anything. They can't volunteer their time with local kids. They can't teach a kid, like, guys, nothing. They're just eaters. And so if you're a manager and you're looking at this, you're like, okay, so how do we feed 98% of the population is either incapable or refuses to grow any of their own food or have one chicken.
Number 12. Because
it's too much work. Now you think they don't have much time in the day, but they have a dishwasher, a clothes washer, they have free heats, they have just heat pumping into their house, air conditioning when they're hot, heat when they're cold, running water just from a switch. They get free money basically. You know, their job is useless.
Shut the fuck up for a bit.
And so, like, no hardship whatsoever. And then they go on social media and complain and attack and agitate. It's like, okay, so how do we feed these people? How do we keep them alive? Well, we need to grow a huge amount of food with a small amount of people that are willing to do it. You know, these people, all these farms are trying to get farmhands, but Americans are like, no.
Enough to
so they
clothe,
get
feed,
illegals,
heal.
legal migrants who are willing to work for less. And then what do the useless Americans do? They say, build a wall. Just eating
people?
and pooping and eating and pooping and jerking, squirting, complaining. Right? Okay, so if you're in a manager position, you're looking to this and you're like, so you want me to build a wall so that we can't get any farm workers for the food that is so underpriced? So underpriced. Like, when I say food price is going to go up, it's going to go up so much it's hard to fathom. And if any food doesn't go up in price, it'll be completely empty of nutrition and it will be filled with cancer-causing agents. Why? Yeah. Because if you have 10,000 acres of soybeans, you can't manually pull the weeds. So what do you use? You use genetically designed weed killer.
They're doing down
okay,
here, man,
after a few years, the soil's depleted because you can't crop rotate. You need every acre to produce. So what do? Fertilizer. Yeah, you use manure and ashes and blood and scraps from your house. No, you have to create it in a laboratory. Now, all these things cause cancer. What do you do with the cancer? You take those cancer patients, you find another way to funnel the wealth out of them in the form of debt. You understand all this, right? Okay, so that's why it's happening. So how do you stop it? Go all the way to the beginning. Grow your own food.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't possibly. I have no time. You have so much time. I highly recommend this this show on Amazon. It's called Victoria Farmers. It's amazing. It's these group of people agreed to live as Victorian farmers, and they had enough skills to do it. But all their food was cooked on a coal stove. They had to make their clothes, wash their clothes. It shows exactly how they farmed and lived before the Industrial Revolution.
I can't believe it. There's
okay,
right down there.
One woman's entire life
put it up here.
would just be laundry.
I see.
There's no laundry machine, so they had to get hot water from coals. They had to manually, constantly do laundry, hang it, press it, use like hot bricks. You know, it's like constantly killing bed bugs, constantly doing it their entire life, and they were much happier people. Way less depression, healthier bodies, less anxiety, more purpose, closer families, more love of each other, higher trust, all of it, because a human being is the most valuable thing you can find. Because every single job required endless work. So now we have a machine for that. And did it give women more free time? No, they just replaced that free time with sin. Men, the same problem. You can just go get a loaf of bread for $1, and then what do you do with the rest of your day? Masturbate, watch pornography, watch the news, endlessly eat, drink alcohol, get drunk, get hungover, develop a drug problem, pills, attack, bot swarm me.
12.
Like that's what these dudes do all day. They're completely useless. And so it was because convenience destroyed them. It was like what Bane said to Batman, victory has defeated you. Because these people have taken their convenience and they drowned in it. And it wasn't this like master, on a spiritual level, it's a master plan. Total loss of know-how, right? But there's still people who know all this stuff.
Came up
and so let's reflip it. There's still people that are like, I've been working on this now for years and I'm still getting there. Like we now heat our house with a wood stove. We now are attempting to grow all of our animals hay with a fodder system, a stacked fodder system that just requires water and light. You know, we have all of our milk coming from our animals. We're now working on getting all of our vegetables and fruit again to come from our land, which we had going at Ursa Manor West. And I'm still not, I'm 10% there. 10%.
Third and final
not even close, guys. I don't have any horses. I don't have, my well requires electricity. It's like, what's so better than fireplace? Way better. Fireplaces are absurd. Is that you, George? Hey, buddy. And so, I want to get to the point where I'm making my own bullets with a musket.